Are we ready?
You just did, we're ready.
All right, let's bring them in.
All rise for the jury.
Oh, please be seated. We stand for you all. Oh, please be seated. Yes. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were given an oath downstairs, and I told you yesterday that I would give you an oath that's for this specific trial. So could everyone please raise your right hand for me, please? Do each of you solemnly swear in the state of Texas versus Angel Gonzalez, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. All right, state.
Yes, Judge. True bill of indictment. In the name and by authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at the November term AD 2021 of the 437th Judicial District Court of said county in said court at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to presentment of this indictment, count 1, paragraph A. On or about the 3rd day of October 2021, Angel Gonzalez did intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Isaac Aguilar, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by cutting and stabbing the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a knife, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury. Paragraph B. On or about the 3rd day of October 2021, Angel Gonzalez, with intent to cause serious bodily injury to an individual, namely Isaac Aguilar, hereinafter referred to as complainant, did commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that caused the death of Isaac Aguilar by cutting and stabbing the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a knife, that in its manner of use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury against the peace and dignity of the state, signed the foreman of the grand jury.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, to that, how do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. State, do you have any opening statements?
We do, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
October 3rd, 2021. Juliet Rodriguez took her young son, Jameson, over to a birthday barbecue. Her sister had invited her because her sister's boyfriend, Isaac Aguilar, and his sister, Annabelle, had planned a birthday party for the defendant. She thought she was going to go over and have a good time, have a couple of drinks, enjoy some barbecue, good socialization, and let the kids play together. She wasn't there for very long. She was sitting in the backyard along with Isaac and the defendant, and they started to argue because Isaac had been disrespectful toward one of his sister's daughters. He called her a bitch. Still young, 9 or 10 years old at the time of that, and Isaac thought that to be inappropriate. So they began to have a disagreement. Not an argument, no yelling. According to Juliet, voices weren't raised. It was more of a disagreement. When all of a sudden Angel gets up and he walks toward Isaac. And she is not really sure how it started, but they began to tussle. And before she knows it, there is blood everywhere. The defendant's own brother, Isaac, stands up and says, "He stabbed me." He's bleeding from 2 places in his chest. He collapses on the slide, and his own brother runs away. He leaves. Juliet runs after him because it is her instinct that she needs to get the license plate number. He jumps in the car with his friends and he takes off and leaves his brother bleeding here. He's collapsed on the playground of the children on a green sled. 911 is called, and ultimately Isaac ends up losing his life at his brother's hand. And at the conclusion of this trial, we expect to find him guilty of murder.
All right, defense, any opening statements?
Will reserve, Your Honor.
All right, state, call your first witness.
State calls Juliet Rodriguez.
All right, if you raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, if you'll take a seat there. And if you could make sure that you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury and the court reporter can hear, if you'll state your name for the record.
Juliet Rodriguez.
State.
Juliet, do you mind spelling your first name for us?
Yes, it's Juliette.
Do you know why you're here today?
Yes,
Why is that?
because I witnessed Isaac dying. I witnessed his murder from angels.
Who is Isaac Aguilar to you?
He's my brother.
And is he actually your brother-in-law?
He was with my sister for a while. They're not legally married.
They were not legal. How long did you know Isaac before he died?
I've known him since I was around 14, 15. I'm 27 now.
And how old were you on October 3rd of 2021? It's about 25, sound
25,
right?
yeah.
Now, there's one rule I want to let you know about that we didn't get to talk about before. It's that we only get to talk one at a time, okay? So we don't talk over each other. And I'll wait until you finish answering before I talk, and you wait till I ask a question before you talk, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I mentioned October 3rd of 2021. What happened on that day?
I was invited to Angel's birthday barbecue.
Who invited you there?
Isaac.
Isaac invited you. And what did he invite you for?
They were just gonna have barbecue and just celebrate his birthday.
You remember the address you went to? Is that here in San Antonio?
Yes.
Whose house was that?
Annabelle, it's Isaac and Angel's sister.
How long have you known Annabelle?
Not too long. I probably met her that year.
Had you gone over to Annabelle's before?
Yes, we went over for Isaac's birthday in August of that year.
So you'd been to her house at least one other time.
Correct.
And on this day, did you go to the house by yourself or did you take anybody with you?
I had my son Jameson with me.
How old was Jameson at the time?
At that time he was around 5.
Were there any other children there?
Yes, Annabelle's 2 kids were there as well.
Do you know their names?
I know the oldest is Scarlett. I'm not too sure of the youngest.
How old is Scarlett?
I'm not too sure. Maybe she was around 9 at the time, maybe.
And the younger sibling, is that a boy or a girl?
It's a girl. She was at the time, she was younger. I'm not too sure.
Okay. So what's going on when you get to the party?
Well, I had just parked and then we all were outside just listening to music. They had Isaac had my sister's car door open. We're just listening to music, kind of just all talking, mingling.
About what time did you get there? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact time, to be honest.
So so how long were you at the party before something happened?
Maybe a little over an hour.
And during that time, was everybody just socializing?
Yeah, we're just socializing.
Did everybody seem to be getting along?
Yes.
Okay, and I keep saying everybody. Who exactly was at this gathering?
At the gathering, it was at the time when we were outside. Annabelle was inside. I believe she was probably making like the rice or something. Moses, Annabelle's husband, was there, and me, my son, and my sister, Angel, and then his 2 friends came along. One was a female, one was a male.
And you don't recall their names, do you?
No, it was my first time meeting them.
And can you tell the jury what your sister's name was?
My sister's name is Christine Rodriguez.
How long had her and Isaac been together?
I know I know they were together when they were younger and then they had got together, so probably within that time, like 3 years.
What do
she's
you-
known him. She's known him prior to that.
So you said you had known Isaac for about 15 years, was that right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you meet him?
Him and my sister at the time were dating.
Okay, so they dated when they were
younger.
teenagers.
Yeah. Correct.
Let's remember, we can't talk at the same time because the lady sitting right in front of you is writing down everything we say and you can't type words over each other. So we'll try to keep that in mind, okay? All right. So at this time, on October 3rd of 2021, your sister, Christine, and Isaac were back together.
Yeah.
How was that relationship going?
It was fun.
Do your sister and Isaac, did they have any children together at that time?
She was pregnant at that time.
How pregnant was she?
I believe she was around 6 months.
During your time at the party, was there a disagreement that happened between Isaac and Angel?
Yes.
And you said you'd been there about an hour before something happened?
Yeah, like a little over an hour apart.
Where did the disagreement occur? What was everybody doing when that started?
We were outside Annabelle's, but it's, at her house, it's not like a backyard, it's just like a side, her yard's on the side of the house.
Okay. Were you sitting? Were you standing?
We were all sitting down.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Juliet, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize what that's a photo of?
Yes,
Okay, what is that a photo of?
Annabelle's yard.
Okay. Does it look like it's been edited or in any way?
No,
And is a fair and accurate depiction of what her backyard looked like on that day?
yes,
At this time, State moves to admit State's Exhibit 1.
No objections, Judge.
All right, State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
Okay, Juliet, let's talk about this photo a little bit. So you mentioned you were all sitting down. Is that right?
yes.
Where were you sitting?
Closer to where the slide was on this area.
Right. These red chairs here?
Yes.
Okay. That's where you were sitting.
Yes.
Where was Isaac sitting?
He was more on, I guess, on this side. I'm sorry.
This way?
Yes.
Okay. What about Angel?
He was across from him
Over here?
on the other side. The other side. The darker side, yeah.
Okay. Do you know why disagreement occurred between them?
Just briefly, I just heard the conversation briefly.
What did you hear Angel say?
Objection, hearsay, Judge.
Objection to hearsay?
I'm sorry, Judge.
He objected to hearsay to what Isaac said.
Angel.
Could you re-ask the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, I may have said Isaac by mistake.
Okay, thank you.
What did you hear Angel say?
He called, the disagreement started because he called their niece a bitch.
How did Isaac react to Angel calling her niece a bitch?
He just told him, don't call my niece a bitch.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained.
Do you know which niece Angel was referring to?
It was the oldest, Scarlett.
Do you know why he said that?
Objection,
No,
speculation.
Sustained.
Was Scarlett in the backyard at the time that he said that?
she was out.
She was outside. What was she doing at the time that statement was made?
I don't remember.
After after Isaac reacted to what Angel said, what happened?
Angel started telling him that he was gonna come after him and go to his house and break down the door.
Were they yelling at each other?
No, it was a regular conversation. There was no yelling. That's why when the disagreement happened, it was just, they were just having a conversation. There was no yelling.
No voices raised?
No.
Did, after Angel made that threat did you say go break in Isaac's door? Is that right?
Yes, he said he was gonna come after him and break down the door.
What did Angel do next?
At the time he stood up.
So he stood up from his chair when he was sitting here?
Yes.
Okay. What happened after that?
Everything after that happened pretty fast.
Pretty fast. Did you ever hear any threats toward Angel from Isaac?
No,
Did you ever hear any further threats from Angel to Isaac?
not after that, sir.
Did you ever see Isaac punch Angel?
No,
Did you ever see Angel punch Isaac?
I didn't see any punching. It was more of them wrestling at the time.
When Angel stood up from his chair, was he doing anything with his hands?
He had his hands in his pocket.
Did you see his hand come out of his pocket?
After that, everything happened fast.
When you say fast, how fast do you mean?
By the time I knew it, they were on for wrestling.
What do you mean by wrestling?
Just like tussling, like they weren't. At that time I didn't see any full punches thrown. By the time I feel like I blinked, I just saw a pile of blood
Where were the children at that time?
outside.
All of the children?
My son was outside. The youngest, Annabelle's husband Moses, was holding the little girl. I remember Moses telling Scarlett to call Annabelle outside. And everything.
Let's go back to when you see them tussling on the ground, wrestling on the ground. Do you remember if one of them was on top of the other, or can you describe that a little bit more if you remember?
I don't remember.
What about the blood that you said you saw? Did you know where the blood was coming from at that time?
No, because it was just all over the floor, but after that it separated, and then I saw it on Isaac, all his blood was coming out. He had a Cowboys jersey, so the whole jersey was full of blood.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, when he had got up, at that time, he had said call 911, he stabbed me, and then that slide was, he collapsed on that slide.
You're talking about this green slide here.
Correct.
What did you do after he said that?
I called 911 and I saw Isaac gasping for air. At that time, I saw his lips kind of turn like grayish, bluish.
Did that concern you?
Yes, and I was calling 911 at the time. Annabelle and I guess at the time it was me and Annabelle and Moses were with Isaac, kind of holding pressure to his stomach because that's what he was holding.
And he's still laying here on the slide?
Yes.
Where was Angel?
During the 911 call, how her yard is on the side, I was running out the gate because he was trying to take off in the parked car that their friends came in. So I was on the 911 call saying the license plate number.
Did he say anything to you as you followed him that way?
Yes, he was coming towards me trying to attack me.
What do you mean by trying to attack you?
It looked like he was gonna hit me, and he was telling me why was I gonna call the cops on him, or why was I gonna snitch on him, but he was yelling at me.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. If you could slow down a little bit.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, he had said that, why was I gonna call the cops on him, and why was I gonna snitch on him? At the time he was coming at me, so I threw some liquid at him for him to go back. And then they took off in that car that was there. I don't know whose the car was, but they took off.
When you say they, who are you talking about?
Him and his female friend and the male friend.
What did you do after they took off?
I ran back to where the yard was. By the time the ambulance got there pretty fast.
And is when the ambulance gets there, does EMS load up Isaac and take him?
Yes. At that point, I went back with my sister and Jameson, so I didn't see them put him in the bed or anything.
Okay. And did you go to the hospital?
We had to stay in custody. We did go to the hospital, but not till hours later.
And when you arrived at the hospital, was Isaac already deceased?
Yes.
After Isaac stands up and says, "Call 911, I was stabbed," did you see what weapon he was stabbed with?
I didn't see it up close, but I just saw something fall like towards the dirt. I guess there was like a lot of leaves there. But at the time I just called, I didn't physically like go and look at it or anything.
Okay. And a lot of leaves there. Are you referring to what the backyard looks like in this photo?
Yes.
And do you recall where you saw the, you said silver item? Do you recall where that fell to the ground?
I didn't see what color it was. I just saw the item fall.
Okay.
But it was around like this area because he didn't walk too far from the slide.
This area?
Yes.
Ask the witness, Sean.
Defense?
Hi, Ms. Rodriguez. My name is Rolando Reyes, and I have a couple of follow-up questions for you. If at any point you don't understand any of my questions, just let me know and I'll gladly rephrase, okay? So let's just go back in time a little bit just to kind of understand. You mentioned that you have known Isaac for 12 years, correct?
Yes, around there, yes.
And you were about 14, 15.
Correct.
And he was dating your sister at that time?
Yes.
How old were they?
Me and my sister a year and a half apart.
So they were 16, 17?
Correct.
Okay. And how long were they dating?
I mean, that was a long time ago. I'm not too sure. A couple of years, maybe 2-3 years.
Okay. And then they broke up.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, did he start dating anybody else?
I'm sorry?
Did he start dating anybody else?
Yes, I believe he had another relationship.
Do you know with who?
I'm not, I mean, I don't know if there was multiple people, but I know there was somebody he was serious with for a bit.
Okay. And at that time, when did he come back into your life, or was he always present? Just to kind of understand the dynamic.
I mean, sometimes I'll have conversations with him, like, how are you doing, like on Facebook, but I didn't see him in person or anything all the time.
So if you remember, when did he come back into your sister Christine's life?
I'm not too sure. I don't have that year. I don't remember.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Maybe like 2019. I'm not too sure.
I'm sorry, just to clarify.
Maybe 2019.
19. Okay, thank you. So fast forward to October 3rd, you said you got invited by your sister, correct? To come to to Angel's birthday party?
I got invited by
By Isaac. Okay. And you said, if you remember, I know it's really difficult and it was a long time ago. Do you remember roughly at what time you got there?
I don't remember the time.
Was it midday, evening? Was it dark out? Was there light out?
No, it was midday.
It was midday. Okay. So you get there and you describe that everybody was there, correct?
The people that came after me were Angel's friends, the female and male, they came after me, but pretty much the rest of the people were already there.
Okay, got it. So you get there and you mentioned that, may I put just to kind of clarify the scene for you. So you were sitting in this chair? This one?
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that Isaac was sitting in this one, right?
No, across, he was more by the slide.
More by the side, so it would be this one.
Yes.
So he was facing you.
He was across from Angel. I don't know if the chair was moved at that time.
That's fair. And then Angel was sitting in this one, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall who was sitting in this one
I don't remember.
or in this one?
I don't remember.
Okay. And I'm guessing that your chair was also not facing out, right? It was probably facing towards the people in the conversation, right? Sorry. So you mentioned that there was a disagreement, correct?
Correct.
And you don't know what the disagreement was about.
The disagreement started with Angel calling the niece.
And to your words, there was no yelling. It was a regular conversation, kind of like what you and I are having right now, right?
Yeah, just disagreement. Correct.
And at no point was there any slapping that you saw?
At the disagreement,
Mhm.
no.
No punching that you saw either?
Not at that moment when they were disagreeing.
Okay. So at some point, do you recall how long the disagreement lasted? A couple of minutes, seconds?
I really don't remember.
You don't remember.
I don't remember how long the argument was.
So at some point you're sitting right there, and then next thing you know, they're just going at each other.
Correct.
You have no idea how that happened. You did not, you were sitting right there, right?
So the disagreement started about them Angel calling the niece a bitch, and I told him not to call Denise a bitch, and then Angel told him that he was gonna come for him and go break down the door. Angel stood up during that time, and then at that point, by the time I knew it, they were wrestling on the floor, and then there was blood.
And would you agree with me that Isaac is larger? He's a big guy.
I mean, I feel like they're the same height. I mean, he's chubbier, probably.
He's bigger.
He's bigger, like height
All
or.
right, just one second. I'm so sorry. If y'all can make sure that you remember one person at a time, because otherwise the court reporter is going to have a difficult time taking it down.
So I'll re-ask my question. He's heavier, bigger than Angel,
Heavier, yeah.
but they're about the same height.
I believe so.
So you're sitting there, and at no moment you see one throw a punch at each other. You just see both of them on the floor.
Correct.
And it is your recollection that you did not see a weapon on that day.
I mean, I saw it fall, but I didn't see, they were wrestling, but I didn't see it, like, I didn't see the weapon until after.
So you said you saw something fall, but is it fair to say that you do not know who had the knife on them? Right?
I mean, I don't know I don't know.
So you have no idea whether Isaac had the knife or whether Angel had the knife.
I don't know, but, I mean, Angel was the one telling me, don't snitch on him, and he knew that.
I'm gonna object your honor out of here, so at that point.
All right, that objection will be sustained.
My question is, you don't know who brought out the knife, correct?
I don't know about it.
How long were they tussling for?
I don't remember.
And this whole time, did you stand up? Were you just sitting there watching this happen, or what were you doing?
I called him, well, after Isaac stood up, I called him.
Okay, during the fight, you just testified that you were sitting in the red chair right there.
I stood up, but I didn't get involved.
Correct. Did you move back? Did you look away? What did you do?
I stepped back.
You stepped back and you saw them tussle on the ground. Okay. I don't know if I just asked you this, but how long were they tussling for?
I don't remember.
And you mentioned that you called 911, correct? And you said that in your 911 call, you told them that he was looking grayish and bluish from the lips?
No, I didn't tell him that, not that I recall. I saw his lips turn green.
Oh, so, but you never told this to the police?
I told the cops that, my brother-in-law was stabbed at the moment, and, I really don't remember exactly what I said, but I told him that he was stabbed and that
I need you to slow down, please, just.
that he, wasn't talking anymore after that.
And just to clarify, because police can mean a lot of things. When you're talking about police, are you talking 911? Or are we talking about when the officer showed up on scene?
I'm talking about the 911 call.
Okay, so you're saying that on the 911 call, you said that you saw his lips turn grayish and bluish?
On the 911 call, I don't exactly remember everything I said. I just said that my brother-in-law was stabbed. And at the time, he wasn't speaking anymore.
Would it surprise you to know that in the 911 call, you never mentioned that?
I probably would. I was in complete shock what happened.
And would it surprise you as well that officers never notated that you also said that to them in the interviews that you gave, that you never mentioned that he was turning bluish and grayish?
I only talked to one person after.
Would it surprise you that that was never mentioned from you?
No, I mean, I don't know. I only spoke to somebody after that day, right after when they took Isaac, they took us into custody, and they didn't ask us a lot of questions. And then after that, they rushed us to the hospital to see Isaac because he already passed.
Also, you mentioned that you told him that he was trying to attack you, correct?
Yes,
And by him, just to clarify, we're saying that Angel said that he was going to attack you.
yes.
Would it surprise you as well that you never said that to any of the officers? This is the first time that you're mentioning that today.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, would it surprise you that that's not notated in any of the reports?
Okay.
Do you remember roughly at what time you called 911?
I don't remember a time.
Do you remember there was daylight or was it night?
I believe it was still daylight.
So is it your recollection that the altercation or the tuffle happened during daylight?
Yes.
Nothing further past the witness.
State?
Just briefly, Judge. Juliet, do you remember telling a detective Rolo that Angel had come at you?
Yes.
And you told Detective Rolo the details of that?
Yes.
Nothing further, Judge.
Any further questions?
One quick second, Judge. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Subject to recall from the state, Your Honor.
Same from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. You can step down. Just make sure you're available if either the state or the defense wishes to recall you.
Thank you.
All right. State, call your next witness.
State calls Christine Rodriguez.
All right. If you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. You can have a seat. Make sure you keep your voice up for members of the jury and also for the court reporter. If you could state your name for the record.
Christine Rodriguez.
All right, state.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, yeah, people do that. That's okay.
So Christine, go ahead and get comfortable, and you want to make sure the microphone's adjusted so you can speak into it, okay? Sorry, as I die, and we have some water. All right, Christine. How are you doing today? Do you know why we're here?
Yes.
Why are we here?
Because Angel murdered Isaac.
How do you know? Did you know Isaac Aguilar?
I met him in like 2012.
How old were you in 2012?
16.
How did you guys meet?
We just knew the same people, and then we started talking. Like seeing him in passing and stuff, like after school, stuff like that.
At some point, did you guys start dating?
Yes.
And when you guys started dating as teenagers, how long were you together for?
On and off. Maybe like, I don't know, 4 years on and off.
During that time that you guys were dating, did you meet any members of his family?
His sister and brother.
What's his sister's name?
Annabelle.
What's his brother's name?
Angel.
Do you see Angel in the courtroom right
Yes.
now? Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Gray shirt.
Let the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. Did you meet him when you were teenagers?
Angel.
Angel, yeah.
I met him at school.
Okay, did you guys go to school together then?
For a little bit, yeah.
At some point, did you and Isaac break up?
Yes.
When did you guys get back together?
We just got back together 2019.
So right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And what was kind of going forward to October 3rd, 2021? Were you guys still together?
Yes.
What was the status of your relationship at that time?
Living together, I was pregnant.
How far along were you?
About 6 months.
A boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
And you and Isaac, you said, were living together, correct?
Yes.
On October 3rd, what was going on that day?
I think there was a football game. We were at my older sister's house watching it, and then it was Angel's birthday, so Isaac wanted to go hang out at Annabelle's house for his birthday.
And did you guys go over to Annabelle's house for Angel's birthday?
Yes.
Who all was there when you got there?
It was when we got there. It was Moses, Annabelle, Angel.
And you said Annabelle's his sister. Who's Moses?
Her husband.
And were Annabelle and Moses kids there?
Yes.
What are their kids' names?
Scarlett and Zara.
Scarlett and what?
Zara.
Zara. How old were Scarlett and Zara at the time?
I think Zara was 2. Scarlett was 7. I'm not sure on her.
They're young ones. Do you recall about what time you and Isaac got over to Annabelle's house?
Probably 6.
Was it still daylight?
Yes.
Because it's October, right? When you got there, what was the vibe? Like, was everybody having a good time? Or was there anything weird going on?
Everything seems normal from what I remember. We got there. Isaac immediately left because Annabelle. Actually, you know what? Annabelle wasn't there. She was getting her nails done. So we got there, and Isaac went to go pick Annabelle up from her nail appointment. So when we got there, it was just me, Angel, and Moses.
And everything was normal between you three. Did anyone else arrive to the party?
Yeah.
Who else came?
My sister and my nephew.
So Juliet and Jameson, correct? Do you recall how long after you got there that Juliet and Jameson got there?
Maybe 20 minutes.
So once the party started going on, were you guys all in the same area or were people kind of spread out? What was the setup for this?
I believe we were all kind of there at they had like a bench. So we were all kind of just out there. And then I know my nephew was with Angel and Isaac, and we were all, yeah, because there's like a playground, and yeah, we were pretty much all in the same area.
Were you outside when Angel and Isaac began arguing?
Yes.
Where were you, if you recall?
By the playground, which is right next to where they were by the bench, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to show you what's been marked and admitted as States Exhibit 1. Is this the playground you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see where you were in this photo, or was it a part of the photo that's not, or part of the picture that's not captured?
I think I was like on the opposite side, looking towards so I don't think I was, no, I was, I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, but you were outside.
I was outside. Yeah.
Would you be more kind of towards this side?
I think more like by the slide on this side.
More by the slide? Okay. So kind of not where the photo shows, but you were kind of still in that area, correct? And then where were Isaac and Angel? Just the general area, if you recall.
Like right on the part where the chairs.
Like kind of right in there?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recall where Juliet was? Was she near them?
She was closer to them, yeah.
And were the kids outside at that point?
Yes, and it's not Scarlett.
But Jameson and Zara? That a yes?
Yes, sorry.
No, it's okay. We just gotta remember that Diana's taking down everything we say. Okay. At some point, did you hear a disagreement or an argument between Angel and Isaac?
Yes.
Um, what was the disagreement about? What did you hear?
I don't know what it was about. I just heard Isaac telling him, don't say don't say stuff like that. Like there's the kids are here. And then once I saw that, that's just got my nephew.
When Isaac was saying that, did he sound upset? What was his tone of voice?
They weren't yelling. They were kind of just talking. At that, it was never a yelling. So he was just normal tone, but you can tell he seemed like concerned a little bit with whatever Angel was saying. I don't know what he was saying.
What happened after that?
I just remember Angel saying, he's like, I'll leave, whatever, but he's like, I'm gonna come for you. I'm gonna keep coming for you. He brought up like where we lived, and then I just the next thing I knew they were on the floor.
When you say on the floor, what were they doing?
Look like wrestling in a way.
So it's just something you didn't see any punches thrown. It's just more the next thing you know, they're on the ground.
Yes.
Could you tell who was on top, or were they kind of rolling around?
Rolling around. What I remember.
Did you see any punches thrown?
No.
Did you see anything in either of their hands before they started tussling or wrestling?
No.
What happened, or how long were they wrestling around?
Not long. 30 seconds. It was very fast.
Okay, so very fast. And before that, how long had they been kind of bickering or arguing?
Not long.
Did
It
also
wasn't
be just,
an argument that I was aware of.
so what happened after they started wrestling on the ground? What's the next thing that happened?
I just remember Isaac standing up and he said, "Call 911" because he stabbed me. And then he kind of like fainted. He fell back on the slide.
And the person that he was, wrestling with, that's the same Angel that you identified in the courtroom today.
Yes.
You said that he got up so that he stabbed him, that he collapsed, correct?
Yes.
What could you see on Isaac?
I could see blood, and he was just holding himself,
Where was he holding himself?
like by his stomach, like this whole part. He was
Like his
just,
upper stomach
yeah.
area? What did you do?
I don't remember. I was in panic. I think I just stood there. I just was in shock.
What did Angel do?
Left. He left.
Did anyone else leave with him?
He was with two people. Yeah.
Did you know those two people he was with?
No.
Had you ever met them before?
No.
Do you remember their names or anything about them? What did anyone else do to kind of help Isaac at that point that you witnessed?
At that point, I guess Scarlett came outside, and then she went back inside to call Annabelle. And then I just remember Annabelle and my sister calling the cops. And then we all, after Angel left, and we all just went to Isaac and we're just trying to tell him like, don't leave us, like you're gonna be okay.
Was he able to talk after he collapsed onto the slide?
He was saying he couldn't breathe.
How long did it take you and us to get there?
I can't remember.
Were you able to go with him to the hospital?
No.
How long? Why weren't you able to go with him to the hospital?
I was a witness.
So you had to stay and talk to police. Were you able to ever see Isaac again after that?
Yes.
Had he already passed or was he still alive?
I've heard that.
Mayor Pritchard?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you two pictures that have been marked as State's Exhibit 2 and State's Exhibit 3. Okay. I'll show you this first one, State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize who's in this photo?
Yes.
And who is in this photo?
Isaac.
Okay. And is this a fair and accurate representation of what he looked like back then?
Yes.
I'll show you another picture, marked as State's Exhibit number 3. Do you recognize the person in this photo?
Yes.
And who is in this photo?
Isaac.
This time, State's going to offer only State's Exhibit number 2 into evidence. No objection.
State's Exhibit number 2 is admitted without objection.
Permission to publish.
Granted.
This is, as you said, that's Isaac, correct?
Yes.
And just to go back real fast, you said this was at Annabelle's house, correct?
Yes.
Do you know her address?
No, I can't remember.
Is it here in San Antonio?
Yes.
I'm going to pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. So and I want to make sure that, are you Christine or Christina?
Christine.
Christine. Okay, Christine, my name is Kathy Compton. And if you don't understand any questions I asked or you need me to repeat something, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
So you said that you met Isaac in 2012. You were both in school?
No, he wasn't in school. He had already graduated.
In 2012, he had already graduated?
No, I don't. He didn't. He graduated before. I don't know what year. I don't remember.
Okay, do you know, so you didn't meet him at school then?
We met after school. Everybody would like go to like a place to eat after called the Galleria, and that's where I would see him in passing and stuff.
And what school were you going to?
Linear.
Had he gone to Lanier?
Yes.
Did you know him when he was at Lanier?
No.
And how many years difference between the two of you?
2.5 or 3.
So when you met him, what grade in school were you in?
I think I was a sophomore.
And then as between Isaac and Angel, who's the older of the two?
I think.
And how much older than Angel was Isaac?
I think just a year.
Are you guessing or do you know?
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can't remember the years.
And here's another important thing that I will ask you, and I'll see if you'll agree to do this. Don't guess. If you know, great. If you don't know, that's perfectly okay too, but please
Okay.
don't guess.
Okay.
Thank you. And so you said you met when you were a sophomore. He was already out of school. You don't know if he graduated or not, but he wasn't in school at that time.
He had already graduated.
And how did you know that he had graduated?
He told me.
That he was still hanging out at an after where high school kids hung out after school at that point?
I would see him get food. He wasn't hanging around really, but he was always with older people. So
And this was like at you said it
it was
like at a restaurant
little-
or a basketball court, or where was it at?
It was behind the school. It's just a place to eat. It's like a really small restaurant, I guess.
Like, is it an actual restaurant in a building or like a taqueria or like a food truck or what?
I would say just like a snack place, because you would go in and there was food and there was like some benches outside, so you couldn't like eat inside or anything. You would just get the food and then leave or sit outside.
So like a snack stand.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said everybody would sit outside. So where would you sit outside?
There was just like a couple of benches outside.
So it's like a hangout spot. And you said that you were together with him, with Isaac, for about 4 years on and off. Were you together did you graduate high school?
Yes.
Were you together when you graduated?
No, at that point we were still friends.
I'm sorry?
We were just friends at that time.
Okay. So met when you're a sophomore, friends all the way through your senior year of school?
Yes.
And then when did that relationship change to be a dating relationship?
2014.
So right after you
A
graduated?
year after I graduated.
And how often did you see Isaac, socialize with him during that period of time that you were just friends?
Not often. We would just talk on the phone a lot and text.
Would you say that you talked to him or socialized with him more than your other male friends?
Yes.
Okay. So would you agree that you were having more than just a friendship with him or a higher level of friendship than with other friends
I'm
during
gonna
that?
object to relevance at this point, Your Honor.
Defense?
Judge, would you prefer that we approach or?
Yes, approach.
Okay. So during the period of time that you're talking about that you were just friends, how well would you say that you knew Isaac? Would you say that you knew him very well? Kind of, not really at all? How well do you think that you knew him?
I think I knew him very well.
Okay. And how often did you see him interacting with Angel?
In that time,
And
never.
to make it clear, I'm just talking about the
Mhm.
period when you were just
When we were just
friends, but not.
Excuse me, I need one at a time, one at a time.
So to make it clear, I'm talking about just in that period of before you were, I guess, officially dating.
Never.
You never saw him interact with his brother.
No.
Okay. Did he ever talk about his brother to you?
Yes.
Okay. And after you began a dating relationship, how long did that dating relationship last until you broke up?
3 years. Well, I don't want to guess, like you said, so I would say 3 or 4 years.
So you said that you met him in 2012.
Yes.
You were friends for a couple of years, so until 2014.
Yes.
And then you began dating in 2014.
Mhm.
And then you dated for until what year?
I would say until the middle of 2017.
And you broke up.
Yes.
And why did you break up?
I can't remember.
Well, you would agree with me that's a pretty significantly long relationship,
Yes.
but you have no memory of why you broke it off?
I just, no, I can't remember like the main reason why we broke up.
You don't remember the main reason or any reason?
Any reason, it was just we were growing apart already.
And during the period of time from when you had broken up with him, and then you say you got back together in 2019,
Yes.
did you have any contact with him between that breakup, 2017 to 2019?
Yes.
How often?
Like maybe not often.
What does that mean to you?
I would probably hear from him every 3 months.
And that would be phone calls, Facebook.
Facebook.
Were you aware or not with regard to any other relationships that Isaac had during this time?
When we were broken up,
Correct.
yes, he was in a relationship.
And did you know who he was in a relationship with?
Yes.
And who was he in a relationship with?
Amber,
And do you know anybody else that he was in a relationship with?
at that time, no.
Okay. Well, at any time that during the time that you were broken up, were you aware that he was in any relationship?
No, just that one.
Okay. And were you aware or not as to whether Isaac had any other children?
Yes.
And what other children did Isaac have?
He had a son,
And what was that son's name?
Elijah.
And who did he have this son with?
Her name is Gabriella.
And I'm sorry, I didn't.
Gabriella.
And did you know Gabriella's last name?
No.
Did you know her at all?
No.
Object to relevance at this point, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled.
And did you know anything about well, let me ask this. Was his relationship with Gabriella, to your knowledge, before your relationship with him or during this breakup period?
Before.
Before?
Yes.
And do you know how long before?
No.
Did you ever talk with Isaac about his relationship with her?
Object to relevance.
That'll be overruled. You can answer yes or no.
No.
Now, at the time that this occurred, how long had you and Isaac been together?
2 years.
And the child, the daughter that you have now, is this the only child that you both have together?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said you were living together,
Yes.
and you said that at some point, do you remember what day of the week this occurred?
No.
Do you remember the address that it occurred at?
No.
So, did you know whose house you were at?
Yes.
And had you been to that house previously?
Yes.
How often did you go to Annabelle's house?
Maybe like once every other weekend.
That you don't know the address?
I don't.
Right. Do you remember the address where you were living?
Yes.
So at what time, if you remember, did you and Isaac discuss that you were going to Annabelle's house?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
At what time on the day that all of this occurred, at what time, if you recall, did you and Isaac decide or talk about going to Annabelle's?
It was like a planned a week before.
And who made those plans?
Isaac.
So you were the one who made a plan. With who?
I'm not understanding the question.
I think I'm probably not. Oh, you said Isaac planned it. I'm sorry. I thought
From
you
what I
were.
remember, he planned it.
Okay, I thought you said I did. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Old ears. My apologies. So you said Isaac planned it the week
Yes.
before.
Yes.
And when you say he planned it, what do you recall him doing?
I just remember him, from what he told me, that he wanted to have a barbecue for Angel.
And so did you assist in making those plans? Did you talk to anybody or was it all him?
It was just him, and then he reached out to Moses, and Moses barbecued.
And Moses lived at the same house?
Yes.
And so it's at the house that we're talking about, it's Annabelle, who is the sister of Angel and Isaac,
Yes.
because there were 3 kids, right? And then Moses is the husband of Annabelle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had barbecues over there in the past?
Yes.
And had Isaac and Angel both been there together in the past?
Yes.
And how many times approximately had there been these types of gatherings where all of the siblings were there together at Annabelle's house?
Just once.
Once other than this?
Yes.
And
That
when,
Angel was there, yeah.
and when was that?
Isaac's birthday in August.
So August, before this happened, and then this event.
Yes.
Okay. Judge, can I have the court's permission to use the
Yes.
well of the courtroom? Thank you. So
All right, and do you need the witness to step down?
not at this point, Judge. So Christine, when you said that you pointed out that you were back over kind of off over in this area, kind of off of the photo.
No, I said it was more like, I don't know if you can see, to the right of the slide.
Okay, so over here, if we had an arrow pointing that way, that's kind of where you were.
Yes.
So if, let's just say, if we're looking at the picture and where you're sitting, say like this is the blue slide in the picture, how far away from the blue slide were you?
Oh, I was close to the slide. I was
So
just on the
like
right
as
of the
close
slide.
as I am to you right now?
Yes.
So close enough to touch the slide?
Yes.
And were you out there with the kids or were you just hanging out?
I was with my nephew. Oh yeah, the kids, they were playing on the playground.
Okay, when you say the playground, I see the slide in the photo. What was it a play set with a slide?
There's like a swing. There was a swing next to it.
So like a swing set with a slide?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember if any of the kids were on the swing set?
No, can't remember.
And do you remember what you were doing? It was a barbecue. Were you drinking?
No.
I know that's probably a silly question because you were pregnant, obviously, but was anybody else drinking there?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so nobody had been drinking when this occurred.
There was drinks, and I think they had just, my sister had just opened hers, but she couldn't really drink because she was trying to watch my nephew, who was all over his face.
So you and your sister, neither one of you were drinking.
She probably took some. Oh, I don't want to guess, but I would say no.
Okay. There's if there were other photos that made it pretty obvious that there was drinking at this party, opened cans, things like that, would you have a reason to disagree that people were drinking?
Yes.
So you're
Or,
saying
can you-
nobody was drinking?
I did not see nobody drink. We were not there that long.
Okay, well then, so how long, when did you get there? What time of day?
I would say around 6.
6 in the evening?
Yes.
And this was in October, right?
Yes.
So you and Isaac came together,
Yes.
and when you arrived, do you remember, was the sun setting? Was it dark? What do you recall about what it looked like outside? Just to be clear too, you didn't take this photograph, right?
No.
Okay, and this photograph was, it looks like this was taken during the daytime. When you were there, did it look like this as far as the daylight?
Yes.
So you're saying it was full daylight at 6 p.m. in October?
Yes.
So you got there at 6 p.m. Did you bring anything?
No.
You didn't bring anything at all.
No.
Did Isaac bring anything?
No.
You guys didn't stop off to get beer, to get food, nothing?
No. Not that I remember. No.
But Isaac was the one that was planning the party.
Yes, but they had already had like the barbecue going, so we didn't bring anything.
So he just called Annabelle and said, hey, y'all make a barbecue for Angel, and that was it, and all he did was show up?
Yes, we just showed up.
And how far away, because sometimes pictures don't give a good idea as far as space. Again, if this is the slide, how far away is this kind of wooden platform there where the tables are? Like how far away from you would that have been? Where I'm at, where the officer's at, the wall?
Where you're at?
So
Yes.
again, from me to you.
Yes, I was not far.
So you were close enough to see who was sitting in the chairs,
Yes.
but you don't remember who was sitting where.
No.
And you were close enough to hear, according to your prior testimony, what Angel was saying, that you didn't hear a lot of what Isaac was saying.
I did hear what Isaac said.
And you were this close that you didn't see how the altercation between the two of them started at all.
No.
And you never saw if Isaac had a knife or if Angel had a knife. You never saw either one of them to know who had a knife.
I know Isaac didn't have a knife.
You know he didn't have a knife.
Yes.
Well, how do you know if you didn't see anything happen?
Because I was with him the whole team. I've never seen him carry a weapon.
Well, what my question is that, again, we're talking about not guessing, right? Or what you think you know. I'm asking you, you never saw on this day anyone, whether it was Angel or Isaac, you never saw anybody with a knife.
No.
Okay. When this was occurring, you said that Isaac was just talking like in a normal tone of voice, like nothing bothered him.
Yes, he didn't seem upset.
Had you ever seen him lose his temper?
No.
So he'd never lost his temper in all the time you've known him?
I've never seen him lose his temper. No.
You've never known him to lose his temper?
Not out of the ordinary, no.
What's ordinary to you?
Like nothing that was like that stands out to me.
You're gonna have to clarify because I don't know you and nobody here knows what that means. What
I
does that
wouldn't
mean
know.
to you?
I've never seen him lose his temper.
Ever?
No.
So this then would have been something really out of the ordinary, right?
I'm not understanding your question.
Well, you said you've never seen Isaac lose his temper. So to see a physical altercation between him and Angel, this would have been something very out of the ordinary, according to your testimony,
That
right?
I've seen, yes.
You agree it was out of the ordinary.
Yes.
You'd never seen anything between them like this before.
No.
So you were not, your testimony is that you were not aware of any sort of problems between the two of them previously?
I know things that Isaac has told me.
Okay, so would you say that their relationship at this point, when this occurred, would you say that their relationship was good relationship, bad relationship, or just kind of average like regular brother relationship?
I don't know. I just know what Isaac would tell me. So I never.
Okay, well,
saw-
what I'm not asking you what Isaac told you. I'm asking, with all the information that you had at that time, wherever it came from, what was your impression of the relationship between the brothers?
I'm not sure.
These are people that you had known now for several years, right?
Yes.
And you don't have any opinion now as to what their relationship was back then.
Back then, or are you talking about this day?
Well, I mean, this is what we're here to talk about is this day. So at that time, what would you have said their relationship was like?
I'm not sure. In this time when I seen both of them together twice, everything seemed normal to me.
Okay. And you said that you don't recall anybody drinking at all.
Correct.
Now, you testified that you saw that when this ended, and I want to make sure as far as the what angle your view was. So if you were standing by the slide, were you like were they to the side of you, in front of you, like where were you? And if you can I have permission for her to get down?
Yes, you may step down.
So let's just say that where our court reporter is, let's just say this is the slide, right? You said that you were on the other side of it, right? Okay, so when the altercation starts, were you facing toward the tables? Were you, okay, so you would be trying to,
Like this was also kind of.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to need you to keep your voice up because the court reporter is still taking down everything that everyone is saying. Thank you.
so you said that you don't know how it started, but you saw the two brothers that they were, I guess, wrestling each other. Okay. And is that when you turned to see, like, I mean, so you never saw how it started at all. You just saw when they were together wrestling.
Yes.
Were they standing up or were they on the ground?
On the ground.
Okay. As far away as I am from you or a little bit further, closer, where?
About one.
Okay, so from me to here, and you could see everything that was going on, right?
Not
You couldn't see anything that was going on? And then And then, so you said that you saw that it lasted how long, you said?
I'm not sure.
So you don't know. You said 30 seconds, right? Before, when you were testifying with the prosecutor?
Yes.
Okay. So that just started at the 12. We're gonna wait till it gets to the 6. Now, did it last that long?
No.
No. Probably a lot shorter time than that, right? Okay. So from what you recall, they're on the ground, and you said that you didn't remember if were they facing this way, or could you see their faces this way? What do you remember? Don't remember. Do you remember if Isaac was on top and Angel was like this? Do you remember if anybody was on their back or on their stomach? What do you remember? Nothing. So you have no memory of seeing Isaac on top of Angel with the knife like this, do you?
No.
And if we're looking at the clock, from the time it started, we're gonna start on the 6th. You tell me how long it lasted. Now, go. About 5 seconds, right?
You may take us.
Thank you. I'll pass, but subject to recall for the things that we discussed.
All right. State.
Yes, just a few follow-up questions. You said that you and Isaac had been living together for about 2 years, correct?
Yes.
And when you lived together, did you share a bedroom?
Yes.
And in all that time, have you ever seen him getting ready to go out whenever you leave the house together? Like getting dressed, putting his wallet in his pocket, stuff like
Yes.
that. Did you ever see him carry a knife?
No.
How often in the 2 years that you guys had rekindled your relationship, did you see Angel?
3 times.
3 times total in the 2 years?
Yes.
Did you see Annabelle more?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that he and Annabelle were closer than him and Angel?
Not sure.
But you did see Annabelle more often than Angel?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Showing you 2 photos that have been marked as State's Exhibits 4 and 5. Do you recognize what's in these photos?
Yes.
And what's in these photos?
The backyard.
Annabelle's backyard?
Yes.
Okay. And is this a fair and accurate representation of what they looked like that day?
Yes.
Offering State Exhibits 4 and 5 in the evidence.
No objection.
All right. States exhibits 4 and 5 are admitted without objection.
Permission to publish.
Granted.
I'm showing you it's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit number 4. Can you go ahead and describe what's in this photo?
Like the objects I see?
Yeah, so like kind of in the middle here, what are we looking at? Is that the slide?
Yeah, the slide, the playground.
This is just another angle of the photo we were looking at earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. And where in here were you standing? If you recall.
to the right of the slide, like a little bit.
All right, you can step down.
If we come over here and point out on this photo. Just right in here.
Yes.
All right, when you all step down, you have to remember to keep your voice up because the court reporter is still taking down everything that everyone's saying.
And then I'm gonna show you, it's been marked and admitted as state's exhibit number 5. Is this a photo kind of looking into the backyard from outside the fence?
Yes.
And then right here in the center where this kind of, is that a doorway right in here?
Yes.
And then this is kind of like the driveway.
Yes.
And so you were standing over here on the other side of the slide.
Yes.
And then Isaac and Amy were over in this area, correct?
Yes.
That's the witness.
So in this photograph, so in this first photograph that states exhibit number, what was it for? States exhibit, oh my gosh, I missed it. So in this photograph, would you agree that it looks like states exhibit number 4 and then states exhibit number 5? Those look like those were taken at very different times. Would you agree?
Yes.
And which of these photographs look more like when taken closer in time to when all this occurred?
I remember it being daylight.
Okay. And I'm gonna point out here, you said that nobody was drinking.
Mhm.
When when you are not, when you weren't pregnant, were you a drinker at all? Did you ever drink?
Yes.
Did you drink beer?
Yes.
And do you recognize this? There's a beer brand that I recognize here. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Did you ever drink Dos Equis beer?
No.
Anybody you know drink Dos Equis beer?
No.
So you have no idea what looks like at least probably a 12-pack or 24-pack that Dos Equis ended up on the ground there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That you never, I mean, it was right by the slide,
Mhm.
but you never saw it.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, and you don't remember any of the cans on the table either?
No.
And you said that in 2012 that you were still in school. You said you were about 16,
Yes.
and and Isaac would have been
18, I believe. I'm not sure.
well. If I told you in 2012 he was 20 years old, would you have reason to argue with that? Do you know his date of birth?
Yes.
What was it?
August 28, 91.
Okay. And did you know anybody by the name of Anthony Bowenblust?
No.
Okay. Judge, I think we may need to approach him.
All right, if you'll approach. All right, any further questions?
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
State.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. One or more of the parties may need you to come back, so make sure that you're available if either party recalls you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
And the judge will be approached.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our lunch break at this time. I'm going to ask that you all be back by 1:30. And we cannot start unless all of you are here. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
Did you say what time?
I would tell you want us back this.
Oh, they're coming back at 1:30, but before you all leave, just give me a moment. So everyone, please be seated. So this is what I'm assuming, and if we're not on the record, this is what I'm assuming. If my assumption is incorrect, let me know. I'm assuming there's not going to be an issue as far as this is the actual 911 call. It's just an objection to potentially the content.
That's correct, Judge.
All right.
And we only have objections, I think, just to one of
Correct.
the calls.
All right. So which call is it?
I will tell you in two. It's the call from Annabelle Perez.
All right. So, and what is, I'm going to listen to it, but if you can just give me an idea, what is going to be your objection to it?
As hearsay within hearsay, Judge, there's multiple people talking in the background and throughout the 911 call. So just hearsay within hearsay.
All right.
No exceptions to it.
So what we're going to do then, now that I know what your objection is going to be, we're going to let Diana take her lunch break. I'm going to take my lunch break, and I'm going to have you all back here at 1:20.
Okay.
And if there's no objection, if somebody can leave the DVD for me and something for me to listen to it on.
Do you have an
All right. She thinks we might have something, or either if you all have a laptop. Oh, thank you. Or if you all have,
to go get none of our laptops play it.
They don't make them with DVD.
can you
ports
believe
anymore.
that? That is so, all right. So we'll get the port and then I will listen to it. And then I will hear both parties' arguments. The other issue is the state filed this motion to have your client fingerprinted. Is there going to be any objection to that?
I think it's for punishment.
Yeah, correct, Judge. I don't think we'll have any issues if we get to punishment. Yeah.
All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead then, since there's not going to be an objection to it, I'm going to sign it. Even though I know it's normal course that people get fingerprints, I still like to have a hearing on that if parties want to have a hearing on that. So I'm going to sign that. And whenever you all have your fingerprint person here, if it comes to that, we will take it up. All right. Thank you. And so the fingerprint order has been signed. All right, everyone, please be seated. And state, call your next witness.
State calls Ruby Zamaripa.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, if you'll lower your hand, make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury and the court reporter can hear.
Okay,
All right, and if you'll state your name for the record.
Ruby Zamaripa.
All right, state.
Thank you. Can you please spell your last name for the court reporter?
Yes, ZAMARRIEA.
And Ms. Zamaripa, how are you employed?
I am the custodian of records and paralegal for the San Antonio Police Department Communications Unit.
And does that include being a custodian of record for 911 calls made?
Yes, it is. I maintain a recording system for all 911 calls, non-emergency calls, police radio transmissions, and text to 911.
And that's part of your normal duties?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 6.
Mhm.
Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, I do.
And what is this?
It is a disc of the 911 recordings that were made for this case.
And how many calls are on this disc?
There are 2.
Okay, and how do you recognize that this is,
I did initial it. I signed it with my name and the date.
after listening to it?
Yes, I did.
And have you listened to this recording?
Yes, I have.
Were these recordings prepared on a device capable of making an accurate recording?
Yes, they were.
How are they saved when you save these 911 calls?
Through an automated recording system.
And when they're saved, Is it an automated thing or do you have to manually save them?
They're automatically saved, and then we have to save them because then they will get purged if we don't upload them.
Okay, so at some point somebody saved this system.
Yes, we do. Sorry.
And is this recording an accurate representation of the recording as it was made?
Yes, it is.
And has it been altered in any way?
No, it has not.
Your Honor, at this time, we would offer State's Exhibit number 6 into evidence.
Defense.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 6 is admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
Address, what's the address?
Hey, y'all not leaving.
What's the address? Hello, I need the address. Hello, I need the address.
Shut the fuck up. I need him here.
What's the address? I don't know.
Hey.
911, this is Stephanie.
Somebody stabbed one of my friends. It was
What's the address? What's the address?
Hey, y'all not leaving.
What's the address? Hello,
DKW 0938.
hold on, DKW?
Huh?
09.
DKW 0938.
Because it's not showing sound from what I'm playing. I'm gonna try to go to the second one. Okay,
Yeah, they both have sound. We just listen to them.
all right, let me see.
May I come around and look at the volume?
Sure,
Okay.
just 1 second.
Okay, what's going on there, ma'am?
Somebody just got stabbed and they
San Antonio 911, this is B. Do you need police, fire, EMS? Hello, San Antonio.
police and EMS.
Okay, to what address or intersection? Okay, what's going on there, ma'am?
Somebody just got stabbed and they left. We have their license plate. Just sent somebody.
Okay,
He got stabbed.
okay. Is it a male or female that got stabbed?
It's a male.
Okay, give me a second.
Oh my god!
Ma'am, what's going on?
He got stabbed. He got stabbed. He fainted. He got stabbed.
Okay, stay on the line. Let me transfer you to EMS. Okay, stay on the line.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Please hurry. Please hurry.
San Antonio Fire and EMS. What's the address to your emergency? My name is Zach. What's your name?
Christine, please hurry. Somebody got stabbed and he's dying.
Okay, we're on the way. Is the person that stabbed him still there?
No, he left. Please hurry. I think he's dying.
Get a towel. I need you to hold the blood inside his body. Do you understand?
They're doing it.
Okay, we're on the way. Lights and sirens now. 30. Okay. He's inside the house, outside the house.
He left. He's outside. Please hurry. Get Bubba out of there.
All right, we're on the way. Keep the blood inside his body. We're on the way now.
Come on. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello, ma'am? Hello? Hello?
All right, and then now I'll play the other one. We'll see if it works this time.
Somebody stabbed one of my friends.
What's the address? What's the address?
Hey, y'all not leaving.
What's the
Hey.
San Antonio 911, this is Stephanie.
Somebody stabbed one of my friends.
What's the address? What's the address?
Hey, y'all not leaving.
What's the address? Hello, I need the address. Hello, I need the address.
Shut the fuck up. I need him here.
What's the address? I don't know where you're at.
It's 7. He's leaving with his friends.
Okay, hold on.
License plate is.
Hold on.
I got the fucking plates. Please hurry.
Hold on.
They're leaving, and the guy that stabbed him was trying to hit. He was gonna hit
Okay,
me.
hold on. I'm gonna transfer. Hold on. I'm gonna transfer you to EMS. Down the line. Hold on.
San Antonio Fire and EMS. What's the address or location?
Yes, guys, can you please come? They stabbed my friend. Please. Oh my God, he's oh my God, get out.
What's going on there, man?
They stabbed him. I need an ambulance now. He's fainting.
Okay. Put pressure with something clean until we get there. Okay. The police need to show up first before we go in. Once they see, tell us that it's safe. We're gonna go check him out. But in the meantime, put pressure with something clean. How old is he?
He's 30.
He's 30. 30.
Yes, please hurry.
Okay, is he awake?
No, he's fucking closing his eyes. Isaac, please wake up. Isaac, please wake up.
Okay, is he
Wake up,
breathing?
please. I don't know. Isaac, please. Please.
Okay,
wake
like I
up.
said, once the police get there and tell us it's safe to check him out, we're going to treat him and get him to the hospital.
Oh my God.
Are y'all gonna be inside or outside? Y'all inside or outside?
We're outside.
Okay, what about the person who stabbed him? Is he still there?
He left. He left. I gave the driver's license. He took off. He took off.
Okay, continue to hold pressure until we get there. Like I said, once
Don't come over here, Christine.
the police get there and tell us it's safe, we're gonna go and treat him. Help's on the way. If he stops breathing, we're gonna have to start doing chest compressions. Okay, is he breathing right now? Can you?
The cops are here.
Okay.
The brother and the boyfriend.
All right, I'll let you talk to the police officers. We're on the way.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey.
911, this is Bethany.
It's somber.
Pass the witness.
I have no questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from the state, Your Honor.
Excuse, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And state?
Yes, sir. Before our next witness, can we approach?
Yes. Give you all a 10-minute break. We're gonna make sure that all of the equipment is working. And so I'll have you all back here by 2. All right, everyone, please rise. All right, everyone, please be seated. And state, if you'll call your next witness.
State would call Officer Ariano.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up for members of the jury and the court reporter. And if you'll state your name for the record.
Angel Arellano.
All right, state.
Good afternoon, officer. Can you please spell your name for the court reporter, your last name?
It's gonna be Arellano
How are you currently employed?
with the San Antonio Police Department.
How long have you been with San Antonio Police Department?
Going on 4 years now.
When did you get certified then as a police officer for SAPD?
August 28 of 2020.
What are your current duties?
Just a patrolman.
What do you guys do as patrolmen?
Respond to calls of service mainly.
Do you deal with all types of cases or any particular, like a specified kind?
All types.
Were you on duty back on October 3rd, 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what shift you were working at back then?
B shift,
And what time does B shift cover?
1:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
And were you dispatched to an incident for involving a stabbing or a cutting?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that here in San Antonio, Texas?
Correct.
Do you recall about what time you were dispatched out there?
Midday, maybe around 2 or 3 o'clock.
Would you have prepared a report as part of your duties?
I'm sorry.
Would you have prepared a report on this case as part of your duties?
Yes, ma'am.
Would looking at that help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit number 8. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And is this the report that you prepared?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what you can do is you can refer back to this to refresh your memory. Just don't read directly from it, okay?
Okay.
So you want to refresh your memory about what time were you sent out there?
Around 8:50.
And is this back in October 2021?
Yes.
And when you were dispatched, were you wearing a body worn?
Yes.
Was that body worn camera on and functioning?
Yes, ma'am.
Before we get further into that, when you got there, what was going on when you arrived at the scene?
When I first got there, I remember a adult female walking from the backyard of her house. I asked her where everything took place, um, and she showed me the way to the backyard where the victim was laying on a playground.
What was the emotional state when you guys got there?
Um, it was pretty hectic. A lot of emotions were running high. Um, and yeah, I mean, just like that.
Were you first on the scene?
Yes.
Had EMS got in there yet?
No.
You want to reapproach the witness?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 7A. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is on this disc?
My initials and date.
Okay. And does it contain your body worn camera on there?
Yes.
Okay. And so you reviewed it?
Yes.
And you said that you watched this recording, correct?
Correct.
And was this recording prepared on a device capable of making such recording, like your body worn camera?
Correct.
And were you competent and knowledgeable in operating your body worn camera?
Yes.
And is this recording, besides the there being no sound on this one, is it an accurate copy or an accurate representation of the events as when you first arrived on the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And has it, other than being the sound muted, has the recording been altered in any manner?
No, ma'am.
And can you identify yourself and other people in this video?
Yes.
And was this video made on October 3rd, 2021?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, we would offer State's Exhibit 7A into evidence.
No objection.
All right. State's Exhibit 7A is admitted into evidence.
Permission to follow.
Granted.
So as this starts to play, you can notice that this is starting in your car. Is that when you're recording body worn camera start?
Yes.
When do you activate your body worn camera?
Usually upon being dispatched.
So at this point, you're on your way to the scene, correct?
Correct.
I'll go ahead and pause it for a second. Is there a timestamp in the upper right-hand corner of the video?
Oh, yes.
So that'd be about 6:50.
Yes.
So is that the victim you see on the green slide?
Yes.
Is he able to speak at all at this point?
No, ma'am.
And the woman in the video, what is she currently doing?
She's putting pressure on his wound.
Why didn't you kind of step in, and start doing that? Or is there a reason you had her keep holding the pressure?
Since she already had the pressure, I didn't want to have her release that pressure and possibly more blood come out. So she just wanted her to keep her hand on it.
So at this point, are you guys waiting for EMS to arrive?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything you guys had to do before EMS could make the scene?
Make sure the scene was secure for them. Make sure there was, I guess, nothing else was taking place for other than for them to come pick him up.
Was the alleged assailant present at the scene?
No, ma'am.
Did you notice kids present while this was going on?
Yes.
How many kids did you see?
One or two.
As you were sitting here, talking to everybody and getting their information, what was everybody's emotional state?
Mm, they were pretty upset.
Did anybody seem intoxicated that you could tell?
No.
Do you know who the person is that's holding and applying the oppression or the pressure to the victim?
I do not.
And then you can see in the background that only EMS has arrived, correct?
Yes.
Did it take them some time to make their way over to the victim, if you remember?
From when they parked,
Arrived.
I believe they were just getting everything out, so it would take them just a little bit.
At this point, you can see the victims opening their mouth a lot. Were they talking or are they making noise at that point?
At that point, he was just making some noises.
What kind of noises was he making?
Um, I want to say it sounded like gas for air.
After they got him off the scene, what else did you have to do with this case? Any other duties you had to perform?
Yes, provide scene security so that it can get processed by our crime scene technicians or um, and preserve any kind of evidence that might have been there.
But the investigation and stuff like that, that gets handed off to someone else.
Yes.
Ask the witness.
All right, defense.
Good afternoon, Officer Arellano. So the extent of your investigation or your role in this case was what we just saw?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, pass the witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness subject for recall?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. State, call your next witness.
State calls Brenda O'Neill.
If you can raise your right hand for me, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, if you'll make sure to keep your voice up for members of the jury and the court reporter, if you'll state your name for the record.
My name is Brenda Oliva.
State.
Yes, Judge.
Yes.
Good morning, afternoon, Miss Oliva. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Where do you work?
I work for the San Antonio Police Department, in the crime scene unit.
And what do you do in the crime scene unit?
I collect evidence, which includes, like photography, physical evidence, and latent prints, sketching.
How long have you been with San Antonio Police Department in that capacity?
16 years.
16 years?
Yeah, 1/6.
And what training did you have or did you receive to do the job that you do?
Well, you have to have a bachelor's degree, which I have. Once you get hired, you take about 360 hours of classroom training, and then you have a month on with a field training officer. So you do the job with them alongside you.
Thank you. On October 3rd of 2021, had you been doing that job, if my math is right, about 14 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember responding to the scene of a crime at on October 3rd of 2021?
Yes.
Did you write a report as a part of your interaction on that case number or on that address? Excuse me.
I did.
Would it help your testimony here today to have that with you as you testify?
Yes, please.
May I approach your honor?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Oliva, I'm gonna hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 8. Use it to refresh your memory if you need to, but please don't read directly from it, okay? Excuse me. It's going to be State's Exhibit number 9. Ms. Oliva, do you recall the San Antonio Police Department number assigned to the case that you reported?
Are you referring to the case number?
Yes.
Not offhand, no.
Would it be on your report?
Yes.
Would you like to refresh your recollection with your report, please? Do you remember the case number now?
Yes.
And what is that case number?
It's 2119, 6680.
And why did you respond to 1717 Meow that day?
I got dispatched because there was a stabbing.
When you arrived at the scene, were you there alone or were there other people there?
No, I met a fellow detective there who was already on scene processing.
And who did you meet at scene?
UEDI Covington.
What is a UEDI?
Sorry.
It's okay.
He's an evidence detective.
And did you guys process the scene together?
Yes, we did.
When you arrived at the scene, what did you do first?
Sorry.
Take your time if you need to. I apologize.
I made contact with Detective Covington. He kind of informed me what was going on at the scene when I got there. He had already taken photographs of the scene, so he talked me through where some evidence was located, and we just coordinated from there on what I would be doing.
Did you mark the evidence locations with detective, or is it Detective Covington? Be that the correct way to refer to that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And why is it important to get from Detective Covington what happened at the scene?
Well, because when I get there, I'm not sure what's going on until I talk to someone on scene.
Does that inform your decisions of what evidence might be important or relevant?
Depending on the case, yes.
And you marked evidence with Detective Covington. What else did you do at the scene?
Basically just conducted a search for anything that might be important to the case. Once we found out, maybe the condition of the victim, that's when we brought, more equipment in.
As a part of your duties, do you make sketches or diagrams?
Yes.
Why do you make sketches or diagrams?
It's just an illustration of the scene. It helps to, like pinpoint the scene, and where evidence was located.
Did you do that here?
I did.
May I approach your honor?
Yes.
Okay, so Eva, I'm gonna hand you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 10. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a copy of my sketch.
And I'm also going to hand you what I'm marking as State's Exhibit number 11. What is State's Exhibit number 11?
It's just a layout of the front yard, but also a copy of my sketch.
And State's Exhibits number 10 and 11, were those made by you?
Yes.
Are they to scale?
No, ma'am.
Are there numerical markings on those sketches?
Yes.
And what are those numerical markings? What are they for?
So the numeric ones will be the items of evidence. The letters will be points of reference.
And why do you put those on your sketch?
The points of reference are used for measurements.
And your two sketches there in State's Exhibit 10 and 11, are they fair and accurate depictions of the scene at that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, State moves to admit State's Exhibit 10 and 11.
May I see them?
Yes.
No objection.
All right. States Exhibit 10 and 11 are admitted without objection.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, Detective, did you take photographs?
No, I did not.
Okay, but you observed the scene, correct?
I did, yes.
I want to talk about the items of evidence that you collected at the scene. Let's start with item E1. What is item E1?
It was a knife.
And where was that found?
It was found at the bottom of a slide.
Okay.
In the backyard.
Can I move about the well, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, with regard to item E1, is that going to be apparent here in State's Exhibit number 10?
Yes, it's the circle one at the bottom.
And was that photographed?
Yes.
What about item E2?
That's going to be a black T-shirt that was found.
And where was that found?
It was found on the slide.
And I want to go back to E1. Were there any swabbings taken from item E1?
Yes, we'll take that item of evidence back to the office, and then we'll do more processing, which in this case we swabbed for apparent DNA.
Okay. And with the swabbing taken from item E1, the knife, what is that labeled as?
In my report, it'll be E1A.
Now, moving on to item E3, what is E3?
It was a blood.
It was blood.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you do the same process there where you take a swabbing of the apparent blood, or is it something different?
No, the swab will be taken directly from the ground at the scene.
Okay. And tell me about item E4.
That was blood as well.
What about E5?
More blood.
Okay. Now let's move on to State's Exhibit number 11 in item E6. What is item E6?
That was blood, located in the front of the house on the sidewalk.
And so for each of those findings of apparent blood, you took a swabbing for, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
We've been talking about a sketch. Your Honor, may I approach the witness yet again?
Yes.
Okay,
And
I'm-
to both counsels, you have the court's permission to move about the courtroom for your witnesses and any items in defense. If there's something that you need to see that the state is showing the witness, you may move about without permission.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor. So we've been talking a lot about these diagrams, items, States Exhibit 10 and 11. So with regard to States Exhibit 11, I have a photograph. It's States Exhibit 12. What is States Exhibit 12?
That's a picture of the front of the house.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of the house as it looked that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, state would move to admit States Exhibit number 12.
No objection.
State's exhibit number 12 is admitted without objection.
Okay. Now I'm going to hand you what has been marked as States Exhibit 13 through 23. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes. These are items of evidence that were collected.
Okay. Are they a fair and accurate depiction of the items that you collected that day and the scene that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, state would move to admit States Exhibit 13 through 23.
Can we approach Judge?
Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, for the record, the exhibits that are being admitted will be States Exhibit 13 through 19 and 21 through 23. All right, State, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, this may be a little difficult. We'll try to be kind to the jury. Okay, we've talked about items on your diagram as E1 and E2. So I'm going to show you States Exhibit 13. Does States Exhibit 13 depict those two items?
Yes.
Okay. And with regard to States Exhibit number 14, what does that depict?
Number 14?
States Exhibit number 14 here.
Oh, evidence item number 1.
Okay, and that's just a close-up, zoomed-in shot, so you can see item 1 more clearly.
Yes.
Is that also a closer shot of what is labeled E2 in States Exhibit number 15?
Yes.
All right, this may be a little difficult for the jury to see. I'm showing you States Exhibit number 16, which in your report is labeled as E3, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is this the area that you took a swabbing from?
Yes, it was.
Now I'm showing you States Exhibit number 17, which is depicting E4. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And E4 is found over here in the bottom right corner of your diagram in States Exhibit 10, right?
Yes.
What can you tell me about States Exhibit number 18?
It was labeled as number 5, and it's also blood, and it was in the driveway.
Okay. Can you please point to where item 5 is labeled or E5 is labeled on your diagram?
It's down here.
Okay. And I'm showing States Exhibit number 19. Is that the same swabbing from a different angle?
Yes.
Now I'm showing you States Exhibit numbers 21, 22, and 23. And what area does that depict?
Let me It's gonna be here on the sidewalk and labels at number 6.
Number 6, it's gonna be this, the diagram from the front yard, otherwise known as State's Exhibit number 11, yes? Okay. And with each of those items of evidence that we just talked about, are you the person that collected them?
Yes.
Okay. What happens after you collect, what happened after you collected those items of evidence?
They were secured in my vehicle and taken back to the office where they were processed, and from there they're put in the property room, the SAP property room.
Is the property room a secure facility?
It is.
Does just any regular person have access to that room?
No, you have to have an ID to get in.
Do you have access to that room?
I do.
Did you bring items E1 through 6, as marked in your report, here with you today?
I did.
And where did you pick those items up from?
It's from our main property room on Academic.
And that's the same property room that they were checked in at?
No, because it was after hours, we have a property room located next door to our office, and the items are stored there.
Okay. Did you bring item 6 here with you today?
Yes.
Did you bring item E5 here with you today?
Yes.
Did you bring item E4 here with you today?
Yes.
What about item E3?
Yes.
And item E1A?
Yes.
And item E1?
Yes.
How do you know that the items you brought here today are the same items that you collected at the scene?
They're labeled with my initials and badge number.
Is there anything else that they're labeled with?
A barcode which contains the date and case number.
Can you please bring out those items I listed just now?
Do you want me to take them out?
Can you please bring out item E6? Okay, item E6, I'm labeling as State's Exhibit number 24. Can you please bring out item E5? E5, I'm labeling as State's Exhibit number 26. Great. Can you please bring out item E4? Item E4, I am labeling as State's Exhibit number 26. May I please see item number E3? E3, I am labeling as State's Exhibit number 27. May I please see item number E2, actually? E2, I am labeling as State's Exhibit number 28. May I please see item E1A? E1A, I am labeling as State's Exhibit number 29. And item E1, please. I am labeling as State's Exhibit 30. At this time, Your Honor, State offers State's exhibits number 24 through 30 into evidence.
No objection. And Anna, just to be clear, did you offer E2 or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thanks.
All right, then State's Exhibits 24 through 30 are admitted without objection.
Ms. Oliva, would you please open State's Exhibit number 30, which is, for your reference, what is marked as E1 in your report. And I have scissors here with me. And what is inside State's Exhibit 1? Or excuse me, what is inside State's Exhibit 30?
That'll be E1 the 9th.
Okay. And I see that it appears to be an additional packaging. Was that packaged by you?
Yes.
Why was it packaged by you in a smaller container?
Because it's a sharp object. It's just for safety reasons.
Okay, would you please open that? May I publish to the jury, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm pulling out the contents of what has been labeled as State's Exhibit number 30. This is the knife you collected from the scene, is that correct?
Yes.
What can you tell me about this knife?
It has a 3.5-inch blade. And at the time that it was collected, it had blood on it.
And is the blade, when you collected it, was the blade extended?
It was halfway, maybe not even halfway, just a bit out.
If I hold this down, will the blade extend if I push forward?
It should, yes.
And I may not have heard you. Did you say about how long the blade of the knife was?
If I remember correctly, it was 3.5 inches.
Do you know how to secure the blade? Thank you very much.
Excuse me, just get him.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna place this right there. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
Thank you, Judge. So is it Officer Olvera?
It's CSI
Oliva.
Oliva.
You said that you were dispatched, but you did not take any of the photographs, but you were there with an accompanying officer who was taking photographs?
He was dispatched first. So when I got there, he had already started photographing.
Okay, and then you made notations in your report with regard to some of the things that you yourself observed at the time, correct?
Yes.
And what were the things that you noted that you observed? And do you still have a copy of your report there?
Yes.
If you need to refresh the information?
No, as far as what I saw when I got to the scene.
Just on, yeah. What do you remember, and what did you notate in when you wrote your report? What did you note that?
When I got there, Detective Covington walked me to the back of the yard where the incident had reportedly occurred. It looks like there was a party. There was numerous beer cans.
When you say numerous, like what's numerous to my uncle may not be numerous to my brother. Yeah. What's numerous to you?
Maybe more than 5.
So it looked like there had been a party with drinking.
Yes.
Okay. And when you say beer cans, were they like in one place, or did it look like several people had been having beers?
The majority were, I believe, on a patio table in the back.
Very close to that slide.
Yes.
If you were standing by that slide, it would have been pretty easy to see those beer cans from where the slide was.
Yes.
And then you said that there was a black T-shirt, and that's in your report. You noted that as your E2.
Yes.
And so when you collected that the T-shirt, at the time that you're collecting things, you're just there to collect evidence. You don't know what belongs to who, or what might be significant later, or what might not be, correct?
Well, it was in the immediate area of the crime scene. So it was close to other items that were collected.
Right. I guess I didn't ask my question, and that's my bad for not making my question clear. You would agree with me that your job as a CSI is to collect potential evidence, right?
Yes.
And so potential evidence could be anything that you think at the time might be significant. And sometimes maybe later on, it might be or it won't be, but you at the time, you're collecting anything that you think may be significant from an evidentiary standpoint, right?
Right.
Okay. So when you collected all of these items, these were the items when you were on scene that you thought were significant potentially as evidence in a case.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you looked at, you said that there was a knife and it was partially open. At the point when you were collecting items and somebody else was photographing items, had the person who had been stabbed, had he already been transported?
Yes. Once when I got there, he was already gone.
Okay. So you didn't have any, or, well, I guess I'll ask you, did you have any indication from anyone else there at the scene where he had been positioned or any sort of play-by-play of what had allegedly gone on?
At the time, they were still interviewing people, so it was not known where exactly he was. So could have been anywhere in that backyard.
Okay. So from your perspective, you didn't have any idea of where anybody's body had been, whether laying down, standing, you didn't know.
I did not.
Okay. And so when you collected the black t-shirt, you didn't know whose t-shirt that was. It just was a bloody t-shirt that you collected.
Yes.
And same with the knife.
Same with the knife. Yes.
And with so there was an E1 that's the knife, and then there was an E1A that was a swab from what you said looked like blood on the blade of the knife, right?
Right.
Okay. Did you swab or recall if there was any blood on the actual handle of the knife?
I don't remember without looking at the photographs if there was or not.
That you didn't, you do know that you did not swab the handle for
Well, the whole
blood?
thing is swabbed.
Oh, you did.
Yes,
swab
the
handle.
blade and the handle is swabbed.
Don't talk over each other.
Sorry. So you swabbed. So E1 is the knife, and then is the E1A. I just want to make sure. Is the E1A a swab of the entire knife or just the blade of the knife?
The whole thing.
And you said your number 3 on your diagram, that was, is that what you marked as an E? Is that your E3? The number 3 on your diagram?
Yes.
We have lots of numbers floating around. I just want to be sure we know what's what. And then the number 4 on your diagram, is that what is referred to as your E4?
Yes, the numbers that are circled are the items of evidence.
Okay. And that was also another swab that you appeared to be blood at the time. And E5 was a blood swab. And then you said that there was also on the sidewalk in the front of the house, that was where you had your E6.
Yes.
And at the time, you didn't have any way to know who any of this blood belonged to, correct?
Well, at the time I was advised that it belonged to the victim because at that point that was the only person that was injured.
That you were told was injured.
I was told. And again, nobody was there when I got there, so I could not see for myself if it was just the victim. So I'm going based on what was being told to the officers.
And so you were not ever told that another person had been injured as well?
I was not told that.
Okay. And I mean, you would agree with me, you've been doing this a long time. I heard you testify that you've been at it for quite a while. You would agree with me that a lot of times police officers get information that covers a full spectrum from a lie to absolute truth, but there can be all kinds of shades of gray in between those two things. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, at this particular scene, that's why so many items of
I'm not asking you about this scene. I'm just
Okay.
asking you a general question in your experience. When people give information about an event, people can have reasons why they might not tell the truth, right?
I wouldn't know. I don't interview people. So I again I go based off what the officer tells me when I get there.
Okay. But in your experience so you said that you've had some peace officer training?
No, I'm a civilian.
Okay, so have you had any classes with regard to anything other than just collecting physical evidence?
No,
Okay.
it's just evidence.
Okay. So essentially then your job is to take whatever somebody tells you, not question it or evaluate it, but use that and then go and pick up evidence.
Well, it's not just what someone tells me, it's something that we agree or that looks like it might be involved.
Okay. So I guess then to clarify with regard to these items of evidence that you collected, this E1 through E6, were those decisions that you made, or was somebody pointing out to you, hey, grab that, get this is over here, be sure to get that?
Because there was so much blood everywhere, just in different parts of the yard and the front yard, there was some collected from each area.
Well, and so with regard to the photographs that you were looking at earlier, where are you saying that there were, because I see blood spots.
Yes.
And so where were the other significant, you say blood everywhere?
I don't mean blood everywhere, but there was blood in just different parts of the yard. And then there was blood in the driveway and then blood in the front yard. So that blood wasn't all in one area, it was spread out from the backyard to the front yard.
Okay. And again, you were not aware of where any of the people involved had actually been in the yard.
No, not at that time. No.
Okay. And with regard to scenes, does SAPD have any sorts of protocols with regard to how a scene is secured? Are you aware of how that works?
I mean, usually when we get there, I guess it depends on the kind of scene it is. It's marked off with tape, just depending on how big or from what they're told, how big the crime scene is.
And is the common practice to try to keep as many people from tromping through the crime scene as possible?
I mean, it's not always the case, but I mean, we try, yes.
Okay. And is that something that is kind of common knowledge that everybody knows, like, hey, don't have a bunch of people walking back and forth through the crime scene?
I mean, we like I said, we try, but EMS gets there and all sorts of you have people that are there at the party. So I mean, that can't be controlled all the time.
Right. So in a perfect world, we would love it if it was everybody clears out as soon as something happens, but it doesn't work that way, does it?
No, ma'am.
Once you took these items, and I'm just referring for the record to these items E1 through E6.
Okay.
once you collected those items, you took them back. Now, there was obviously other things that were done later. But where did your participation end? What did you do with these items? What was the next thing that you did with each of these items? And then when were you done with your part?
So the items were taken to my office. Covington was there as well to take further photographs, things that we can't photograph at the scene, which is like the knife, the t-shirt, I believe. I did additional processing on the knife. Once that's done, everything is packaged and labeled with a barcode. Once my report is done, those items are taken to our property room. They're placed in a locker, which is locked and held there until follow-up not acts, but decides what's going to be done as far as testing and having that sent over to the lab.
Okay. And are you the person who, if something, say, for example, in a case needed to be sent off to be tested for DNA or things like that, are you the person who does that, or is that not in your?
No, we sent those items over to the Bear County Crime Lab.
Okay. Are you the person that notates when things are sent, or are you just there? Is your work just on the scene and then bringing stuff back?
Yeah, that'll be the detective.
Okay. I'll pass the witness. Thank you.
State.
Just briefly, John. Right, Miss Oliva. I'm gonna hand you what I'm now marking as State's Exhibit 31. What is State's Exhibit number 31?
It's a picture of the blade.
Is there anything in the photograph with the blade?
It's a scale, a ruler.
And just to be clear, the item that's being photographed there, is that the same as the item you collected at the scene and noted as E1 in your report?
Yes.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of that item?
It is, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, state moves to admit State's Exhibit number 31.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit 31 is admitted without objection.
May I publish as needed, Judge?
Yes.
Okay, I know we had some testimony on this, but can you tell me how long the blade is of that knife?
It's 3.5 inches.
What is that in centimeters? Would that be on the ruler in the photograph?
8.
8,
Yes.
roughly that.
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
I don't have anything else, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
From the state.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, you may be excused. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a short break because things need to be signed over for the court reporter. So I'm going to bring you all back in at 3:40. And remember my instructions, everything that you need to know about this case is to come from. All right, thank you, everyone. Please rise for the jury.
Yes. Judge, can we go ahead and get our witness up?
Sure, just put them here.
She was looking to see her shoes. Yeah.
Well, we all know where my clothes are, destroyed, so.
And
Which way am I going? Here?
And Judge, we only have 2 more here today.
So her and one more.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, no, no problem. All right, we are ready.
All rise for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Megan Duffy.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Megan Duffy. It's MEIGAN
Right.
DUFFY.
Sorry, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
Out of breath.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you for coming today. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes. Hi, my name is Megan Duffy. I'm a crime scene investigator with the San Antonio Police Department. I'm one of the civilians. I've been with San Antonio Police Department and the city now for 19 years. From 2005 to 2012, I was what they call the police communications specialist. It's a fancy way of saying you're a 911 operator. And then in 2012, I was accepted to the crime scene unit, and I've been there ever since.
And what is your official title right
Crime scene investigator 3.
now? CSI for short?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay if I call you CSI Duffy?
Absolutely.
Okay. So on October 3rd of 2021, were you a CSI with San Antonio Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall being called out to the scene and
Yes, ma'am.
is that here in San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in Bear County?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you appear out to a scene, do you write a report?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you have written a report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm gonna hand you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 32. Feel free to refresh your memory with it, but don't read directly from it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, CSI Duffy. What is State's Exhibit number 32?
It is my crime scene search report.
So as part of your duties as a CSI, what do you do?
So our job is to assess the crime scenes, to document through means of photography, videography, fingerprinting, collecting evidence. And then we also do like 3D diagramming depending on what kind of crime scene it is. And then once we collect that evidence, we have to preserve it and we submit it to the property room for it to be stored.
And do you do all of those jobs at every single crime scene you report to, or do CSI share duties at scenes?
CSIs do share duties at more complex or major scenes. Minor scenes like a burglary, we can handle on our own.
Were you the only CSI present on October 3rd at 1717 Leal?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall about how many of you there were?
I believe there was 2 others.
And what tasks did you have at that crime scene that day?
I was tasked with creating the video recording of the scene.
Okay. And why do you video record a scene?
It's just another form of documentation visually for them to run through and they can see the whole scene that adds to the photos. It's a supplement to your photographs.
And are you the one that marked the items of evidence that would appear in a video of a crime scene?
No, ma'am. Everything was marked by the time I arrived at the scene. They had already started processing the scene.
I'm going to hand you what I'm marking as State's Exhibit number 33. Do you recognize State's Exhibit number 33?
Yes, ma'am. This is the video that you had showed me when we went to pretrial that I created.
And that's from this case on October 3rd of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the scene as it appeared to you that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And had it appeared to be altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, State would offer State's Exhibit number 33.
Can we just approach briefly, Judge?
Yes.
Your crime scene videos have an audio portion to them, or are they just visual?
It's just visual, ma'am.
All right, and so state you're offering State's Exhibit number 33.
We are, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection,
All
Your Honor.
right, State's Exhibit 33 is admitted without objection.
May I publish?
Yes.
Now, CSI Duffy, we have several different files on the disk. Why are we not looking at one continuous video?
Sometimes when you hit the pause button, so like in this instance, you have the cat like coming through the scene, so we're trying to get her out so she's not near the blood. I also have a hand tremor, so I will stop the video so my hand can like calm down. It's just a natural thing I have from autoimmune disease. And if people are walking through the scene, we will stop it because as I'm processing the scene, there are other people in there working as well. So we want to step out and let them do what they have to do.
So every time the video camera is paused or stopped or interrupted, it creates a new file.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you survey the scene before you start recording, or is somebody directing you where to go?
When I first got there, CSI Oliva kind of quickly went through and then she walked me back through the flashlight, kind of showing me where the evidence was. But they were processing when I first got there, as you can see right there. So I had to step out and then she just kind of pointed stuff out as we were going through the scene.
Did you do anything else at this crime scene aside from record the video?
No, ma'am.
Did you arrive at the crime scene? Do you know?
Can I look at my report real
Of
quick?
course.
1910 hours.
And do you know how long or about how long there had been police presence at the scene before you arrived?
No, ma'am, I don't.
That's the witness.
I have no questions of this witness.
All right, is this witness excused?
From the state?
From the defense as well.
All right, thank you. All right. State, you may call your next witness.
State calls Officer Jason Owen.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. All right, if you can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, just make sure you keep your voice up for the jurors and the court reporter. If you could state your name for the record, please.
Officer Jason Owen.
All right, state.
Good afternoon, Officer Owen. How are you currently employed?
Currently employed with the San Antonio Police Department on their street crimes unit.
And what do you do as working in street crimes unit?
Our main task is to do area specific directed patrol, which means we run two to a vehicle. And we're also on a violent crimes task force where we look for violent warrants or felony warrants that we go and pick up.
So you typically not sent to a scene, correct? You're more kind of, or what would you describe your general duties day to day?
No, we're not typically sent to a scene unless it's an active crime scene where something violent actively happened and we're trying to find the suspects at the time. Usually we're called in after the fact once a warrant has been filed for a crime that's been committed already.
And are you familiar with a defendant by the name of Angel Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
And how are you familiar with that defendant?
A while back, we had a warrant that came across our desk or across our unit, and we went to pick out the suspect.
And were you able to find and make contact with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you have created a report when you found him?
Yes, ma'am.
Would looking at that report help refresh your memory and aid in your testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
It's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit number 34. Can you take a look at this? And is this your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Feel free to look at it to refresh your memory. Just please don't read directly from it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. So you were sent to go pick up Angel Gonzalez on the warrant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, we would like to approach briefly.
Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, both the state and defense have told me this is going to be the last witness for today. So there is just something I need to take up outside of your presence. It should take no more than 10 minutes. All right. So remember my instructions. Everything that you need to know about this case is. All right. All right. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. So before we go back on the record, state, I understand the testimony you want to elicit from the witness. Defense, I understand your concerns. So this is what we'll do. State, if you will ask your questions and we will see if it leads somewhere that it should not lead to, and then we'll know.
Sounds like a plan, Judge.
So we're back on the record. And this is a hearing outside the presence of the jury. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
So on October 9th, 2021, were you advised of a warrant concerning this defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that warrant for?
It was for a murder warrant.
And what did you do in order to basically find him that day?
It was actually our detective that was assigned to our unit. He was able to locate where the suspect was at the time. From there, we formed a plan to apprehend him.
And when you got to the location, did you make contact with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
What was this location, just in general?
I don't remember the exact location. I just remember it was an apartment complex.
And what happened when you made contact with the defendant?
When we initially made contact with the defendant, he took off running. He was on the second story of the apartment building. He jumped from the awning onto the ground and then started fleeing from the location from us.
And were you wearing anything identifying yourself as a police officer at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also verbally identify yourself as police?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
After he jumped off the balcony, what did you do?
I chased him through the parking lot and finally caught him in the parking lot on the backside of the apartment building.
How did you catch?
He slowed down and I was able to basically wrap up and we both went down to the ground.
Did you suffer any injuries when you went to the ground?
Yes, ma'am. It was a gravel parking lot, so I got scrapes on my arms and hands.
And at that point, was you taken into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be the extent of our questions.
All right. And
So-
were there going to be some objections?
Oh, yes.
All right. Oh, you can remain seated. I'll hear your
Thank you, Judge.
objections.
So first of all, just generally, I think that any testimony elicited with regard to the evading arrest, I think it's separate in time, and I don't think that it is relevant, and I think it's more prejudicial than probative with regard to this case. Now, if we were here for a trial on evading, different story, but that's not what we're here for. And that should not be used as evidence in a murder case to prove anything when it's so removed in time. This is, I think, at least a week later. So evidence that he left the scene, we haven't objected to that because I think there's a valid reason and a valid argument the state can make for that. For this, no, it's absolutely more prejudicial than probative. The other thing is any testimony with regard to this officer's injuries.
Oh, well, let me
Irrelevant.
stop you there. The court was going to sustain any objections related to his injuries. All right.
And I mean, I think that if they want to say that he recognizes him, if he wants to identify him as the person that he arrested on the warrant, but as far as the circumstances, I don't think that those, I just think that it's such a tenuous connection to the events that occurred the week prior. There's all kinds of reasons people run from the cops. And I don't think that it's fair, especially given the incredible.
Well, this is what the court wants to know. And maybe I missed the answer to it, but I would like to know is whether or not this witness knocks on the door and says, we're here, we have a warrant for your arrest. Warrant for your arrest is for murder. And then did that result in your client allegedly running away?
We did not enlist that. We can always ask those questions. Your
So
Honor.
that's what I want to know. And then I will make a ruling.
Officer Owen, when you approached this apartment, how did the interaction, or how did you announce yourself? What did you guys do?
So when we went, the defendant was already outside the apartment. As we were coming up the stairway to the defendant, we announced ourselves as police. That's whenever he took off running.
And when you say outside the apartment, where outside? Like, could you visibly see him as you were approaching the apartment?
Yes, we saw him as he was walking up the stairs, and that's whenever we went to make our approach.
And then when you identified yourself, how did you identify yourselves? If you can recall.
I can't recall on that.
Did you call him by name at any point?
I did not.
Do you know if anyone else did?
I can't recall on that part.
So basically you guys saw him and you were already heading up there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then as you approached the apartment and in some way you guys were announced, he saw you and took off running.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and
All right, well,
Judge,
stop. So is that the end of your questioning?
At any point, did anybody announce if they were here to serve a warrant, or did it not get that far?
I don't believe we were able to at that point.
All right, any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so this is what the witness is allowed to testify. The witness is allowed to testify that he went to this apartment or wherever it was to serve a warrant and that he was apprehended. Then there's to be no mention of a chase. And we can go off the record. And let me tell everybody my reasoning behind this. The accused, this witness has testified. Nobody identified and said, we are here for a arrest warrant on a murder charge. It's allegedly, he sees the police and he takes off running. That's it. So you're allowed to testify that you had a warrant for the accused, if it is this accused person's arrest, and that you went to serve the warrant and you apprehended him. Defense, any objections to that?
no, Your Honor, that's fine.
And then if there's another witness who has more information, we'll take a hearing of outside the presence of the jury on that. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So do not go outside of my instructions, all right? All right, I appreciate that. All right, let's bring the jurors back in. All right, we're ready.
All rise for the jury.
Right, everyone, please be seated. All right, state.
Thanks, Judge. So on October 9th, 2021, were you advised of an active warrant concerning this defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that warrant for?
It was for a murder warrant.
And did you go to serve that warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it here in San Antonio or somewhere else? Okay.
Yes.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Gracious.
Let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
No questions.
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Can he just be subject to recall if we do need him?
All right, just make sure you're available in case either side decides to recall you as a witness.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last witness for the state for today. Based on my conversations with the state and with the defense counsel, and based upon what I've heard with the trial, it's expected that both sides will have rested and closed on Friday, and your deliberations will probably start on Monday. All right. So that you know where we are. So today you're going to get a chance to avoid rush hour traffic. Believe me, if you're ever in the parking garage and you're trying to leave at 5, it's like a Christmas tree lit up. So remember my instructions. You're not allowed to discuss with yourselves internally or with each other